had a very interesting last year.
Grandmaster Maxime Vachier-Lagrave is one of the best chess players in the world.
Video game players, they're used to tryharding a game. They will spend like maybe 1,000 hours on it and be really good. But then they try chess.
We discussed lots of topics, including the recent scandal over overlapping top events.
Really bad face from Hikaru.
Maxime shared his thoughts on the future of chess.
A lot of 14-year-olds are much stronger overall than what Magnus could show 20 years back.
Of course, we did a candidates tier list.
It's my feeling, it's my hot take. S tier is reserved for.
Do not miss our Blitz game at the end.
I see you made your homework.
Hi, Maxime. Thrilled to be talking to you for the second time on this podcast. How are you doing?
Hi, Greg. Great to see you again, and great talking with you and with your audience as well.
So last time we spoke, it was a year ago, and I wanted to ask you about your summary of this past year for you. How was it, chess-wise, and maybe in some other areas, if you want to share, what changed?
There's not that much that changed. I mean, I had a very interesting last year in general, of course, definitely a lot of events. And of course, the added esports component, so which meant that I joined Team Vitality last year. And this has been a fun ride that is still ongoing. And in general, the second half of last year was very demanding. Tons of events, tons of traveling. Some of the traveling I never experienced before, like really going back and forth to India, Uzbekistan, US, Saudi Arabia. Like this was really, really something else. So I feel like I handled that decently well. There was also Brazil, of course, for the GCT finals. It did cost me a bit, I think, in terms of energy levels and so on. But I was glad also to manage and be in good shape for some of the most important events. So I did miss quite a few, things I would have liked to achieve. But overall, I think it was a good year. I think, of course, there's still areas to work on for this year. And, knowing that, for instance, I didn't make the candidates once again. So, of course, it's still definitely in the back of my mind, but that will be for next year. And, the coming year will also be extremely exciting. There's GCT, there's, of course, a lot of stuff. Hopefully, EWC, but that... we'll get to talk about that.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about lots of topics that you raised already in your first answer. Mm-hmm. So the candidates, the qualification, the stuff like that. But of course, yes, the abundance of events and conflicts with dates. So that's the most discussed topic among many chess players these days. And if my information is correct, you were actually the one who initiated the open letter by a group of top players who protested, I would say, against the decision of EWC to hold the chess finals within the same dates as the Grand Chess Tour. Can you give a little bit more background on this?
Absolutely. So, what happened is I learned beginning of January about this clash of dates. And to me, it seemed like unacceptable, simply. So, of course, we're still 6 months away. I mean, at the time, it was 7 months away. And it was given to us as things cannot change. These dates are final and so on. And to me, that's just extremely strange. So I took the decision, of course, to talk with my peers. Most of the players involved, especially, who are already signed for the Grand Chess Tour. But, for instance, Ali Reza has already qualified to Esports World Cup final. And, I expect many more players as well to do qualify. It's just strange to me that these two very important events would collide. And there are two reasons why that's an issue, like maybe even more, but let's say two main reasons. One is we signed a contract. I signed a contract with my team, Vitality, in good faith, saying I need to play for Esports World Cup. If I'm qualified, I need to be there. At the same time, and without knowledge of the clash, I signed a contract, of course, with the Grand Chess Tour, and I do need to play the Sinquefield Cup, which will suddenly clash. And so, as it happens, and it's my case, but it's also the case for some other players, we have two contracts that we signed in good faith, and we are being forced to breach one. So that's like not really nice. And for instance, let's say if the Esports World Cup was an invitational event, that it gives a chance to some other players maybe to play. Why not? But these are tournaments you qualify to. So everyone has the right to play and try to qualify for this Esports World Cup. So it's really about who qualifies, who deserves to be there. And if I'm qualified, I expect it to be able to. So yeah, I talked with the players, and of course, like I said, a lot of players agreed. What happened is, of course, some of these players are busy with candidates preparation. Some of them were playing in Vike. So that's why I took, the initiatives and maybe was mostly involved in writing the letter. But overall, it was obviously a collective effort, and I'm glad that we managed that. Too often in the past, the players wouldn't be able to unionize in a way. And no, we don't have a union, strictly speaking, but hopefully this will happen in the future, that players are more ready to work together and to try and make things change when they're not right, simply.
Yeah, thanks for helping chess players unionize a little bit more. I think it's definitely for the better.
Damn it, I mixed up my lines in the Sicilian again. Stupid opening. Stupid check.
How to learn openings in chess. Chess reps. It's thanks to chessreps.com.
You can practice dozens of openings on chess reps in many different ways. You can drill your lines against the clock, you can play against engines of different levels. You can solve puzzles in the opening that you are learning. It's a really fun and effective way of learning openings. I'm a fan and I recommend you try chessreps.com using the link in the video description. I wanted to ask, have you watched Hikaru's video where he criticized you guys and said that you are like spoiled for choice and you should let other players play the EWC and that you do not bring the viewership? That's what he said.
Yeah, I saw that, and well, I already partly answered that, other players are entitled to qualify to Esports World Cup. So I don't really get his point there. Maybe he wants to give up his spot. Why not then? But of course, I recognize that Hikaru has brought a lot of viewership, but I think he underestimates, for instance, the viewership from friends that I can bring, and the viewership that can be brought from India, that can be brought by Fabi, that can be brought by Aliozaz as well. There are many countries which are keen on playing chess, and the viewership from France, for instance, is maybe underestimated, but there's viewership from India, from Iran, from Uzbekistan. It's a great country of chess, and so on. From Germany with Vincent. Everyone can bring in viewership. So calling us spoiled also, like, it is not the point. I mean, like I said, we have commitments and that we entered in good faith, and we cannot just choose a situation that's impossible. We're definitely gonna breach a contract if things stays the same. And maybe that doesn't matter for some people, but contract is important. Calling us greedy because of course we're gonna earn more money if we can play both, but to me the point is playing the most important events of the year to represent my team vitality, and to play the best chess tour of the year, the Grand Chess Tour, which has been there for 10 years. It's not really too much to ask that these two really important events of the year. Of course, there's candidates and the World Championship match, but these two events are definitely part of the most important events of the year. They shouldn't clash, and I think there's 6 months left, so I don't see before the event starts. I don't see why it would be impossible for a change of days not to happen. Calling us greedy, that's just really bad face from Hikaru.
And do you feel optimistic about the possibility to find a compromise? Because the EWC definitely has lots of esports, lots of participants, and I've heard that there used to be similar stories with some other esports, and they did not change the schedule in that case.
Absolutely, that's a very real issue. At the end of the day, if nobody budges, what can we really do? That's the question. At the very least, one good thing I think is that we spoke, and if we hadn't spoken, I could see this issue recurring every year. I'm hoping that at the very least, this will not happen in the next years. That's the very least I hope for. But of course, I also hope that again, I understand that there's a lot of issues, and maybe for instance, Esports World Cup doesn't want to do anything for some reason, and maybe for some organizational reason. But there's still 6 months to do something, and I really don't see why nothing can change in 6 months, and all days for both EWC and Grand Chess Tour are written in stone. To me, that is just bad, and again, it impacts a lot of top players. So I'm working towards a solution to be found. Along with my colleagues. I hope this can be done. If it cannot, ultimately, at least it won't be for lack of trying.
And if nothing changes, what will you play? If you qualify for the EWC finals and you have the Grand Chess Tour, the Sinquefield Cup, right, at the same time?
It could ultimately depend on my positions and my standings, but generally, of course, I would most likely play the Grand Chess Tour. I've been playing the Grand Chess Tour for 10 years and very successfully, and I'm very grateful for what they brought to chess. But it would pain me because I'm also very happy with team vitality, with how we handle things together. So I don't want to set my word in stone, let's say publicly, that I will play Grand Chess Tour. But in general, yeah, that's by far the most likely outcome.
You're wearing the merch of your team.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm getting the new merch for this year soon. Also, this is the last year's outfit.
Okay. Okay, I like it. And I wanted to ask you: are you have you changed somehow your perception of yourself since you've become part of an esports team? Are you thinking of yourself as an e-sportsman, cyber sportsman, something like that? A new role, or nothing changed in that regard?
Something changed, and for instance, being part of the Esports World Cup last year was really a fun thing. You'll see a lot of players from different esports, and you see how they play. You see in a way how they train as well, because we had the launch, and people were playing all sorts of video games. So we were also playing video games, but not for the same reasons, I guess. Also, I guess for some of the players it was more relaxing as well. But yeah, you do get some insights, and there are a lot of similarities between esports and chess, and that's also why ultimately chess became part of this arena. And I think it's overall a great step for chess, and also why I want to be there this year as well.
I'm wondering, by the way, if we take other disciplines at the Esports World Cup, which one is, in your opinion, most similar to chess? Maybe some skills overlap most, like obviously there and in chess.
Yeah, it's hard for me to say. And I think, there are lots of games. Some of them I don't know well enough, but for instance, League of Legends, clearly, you need to know a lot of things about different heroes, what they're doing, how they interact, because of course it's team 5 against 5, how your opponents will do, trying to guess your opponent's next move to counteract appropriately. That could work. But then you have CS, where you need a lot of focus. Any mistake can be costly, and so on and so forth. And some games that I maybe don't know as well. So, but you see, the similarities are endless, and the way you need to work in video games. I know they practice 6 to 8 hours a day. But one thing also that maybe a bit unrelated, but that I liked a lot, is that a lot of video game players, they're used to tryharding a game. Like they will spend maybe 1,000 hours on it and be really good. But then they try chess and they spend, let's say, 1,000 hours on it. And you would know that 1,000 hours on chess, it will give you a basic level, but it won't be enough. It definitely won't be enough. And it's kind of surprising if you consider the fact that there's, so few pieces, and that in 1,000 hours, you would think you could absorb a lot of information. And in a way you do, but there's so much more information to learn about. And, everyone gets there. So, then it's about really taking the next step.
Some people might say chess is the hardest video game, if you look at it this way.
Yeah, well, from my point of view, it's definitely not. I'm much worse at video games, but I see their point.
Yeah, let's hope that this story continues with esports, and you guys find a solution. In the meantime, I wanted to discuss, of course, the good old traditional offline chess, and there are lots of topics for us to discuss there. Last time we spoke.
Absolutely.
Yeah, last time we spoke, you were telling me that your probably main goal at that time was to qualify for the candidates. Obviously, unfortunately, that did not work out this time. If you look back on the qualification process, what would you say was the main reason? What didn't work out for you in this one?
Ultimately, it became about both the Grand Swiss and the World Cup. It was unreasonable to think I could qualify through the circuit, especially as I think Pragg was ramping up points. So I think it really came down to the Grand Swiss and the World Cup. In the Grand Swiss, I felt I played pretty well. Also, even though I started with black, I think I ended up with 6 whites. So I'm pretty sure. So that was nice. But I had moments where, things didn't click. And, in a tournament with 11 ones, of course, one game or 2 games can make all the difference. And I think to me, it was my game with Marc-Andrea in round 4.
Crazy game.
Crazy game. And, but to be fair, he was, in a very attacking mood, took a lot of risk. And I felt like I should punish him, and I could feel it, but I couldn't find it. Ultimately, even lost the game, which was very unfortunate. And then from there on, I was trying to fight back. I mean, I even lost game 6 with Sarxian almost from the opening, which was kind of strange, but it was also because I knew I need to take more risks. And then, I did win round 7 to 9. So overall, my playing level was good, I think, during that event. I played a few fine games. I also played a lot of talented kids, as I remember, I played almost all the top rating gainers. Like I played Mishra, I played Andy Woodward, Mark Andrea, of course. I think I'm forgetting at least one more. But I think these 4 players won like 80 points in total, something like that. I mean, but you're bound to have in these top events, you need a good start, you need solid event, not too many setbacks, and so on. When it comes to the World Cup, unfortunately, I think this was my worst event of the year because things were rocky from the start. I mean, my match with Surya Ganguly, I won the first game decently convincingly, but then in the second, I got lost almost out of the opening without reason, missed a lot of decently easy tactics. Then I did have a good match with Artemiev, but that was a crazy one.
Yeah.
It was, I think, an unfortunate pairing overall, especially in this format. But, it went to the wire. I probably should have lost the match, but I'm happy I won. And then I played a very poor match with Alexei Gwemnev, but also a very talented guy that I didn't know about prior to this World Cup. I mean, I just knew he had beaten Marc Andrea in a match to actually get this qualification spot. But apart from that, I knew nothing. And very complete player. I was. I remember where I was playing. Of course, in this Grand Swiss was Yai's. Probably the most talented of all. And I did beat him in that Grand Swiss, but he got revenge later on.
Yeah, you guys played a match. It was fascinating. By the way, how do you agree that he's the most talented 14-year-old in the history of chess, or the strongest 14-year-old?
The strongest for sure, the most talented. I mean, it will be between him and Magnus. So time will tell, but considering that, we're 20 years later, of course, he's much stronger, and a lot of 14-year-olds are much stronger overall than what Magnus could show 20 years back, but it's only natural. Whether he will be stronger than Magnus in the end, well, it's another prediction topic. I think it's possible, which is already saying a lot.
Yeah, it is, and the fact that you guys competed in this heated match, probably you were able to study him more. What did you see that maybe surprised you?
I mean, I knew about his relative weakness of time usage, but I think this can get better with time. I mean, I knew I shouldn't take him lightly. He's a very complete player, especially at this age. Rarely makes mistake, and also in terms of calculation, I don't see any mistake in his calculation. For instance, in this Grand Swiss game that I ultimately won, he got caught out in some bad prep, and he did make one mistake, but from there on, with little time and hopeless position, he managed to pose as many problems as he humanly could. And then in this match, he was well prepared and, very convincing in terms of calculation overall. So, that's a very good sign for the future, but also, it's not only that, because a lot of kids are very good in calculation nowadays. And of course, it's probably still the most important thing. But in general, he was very, I would say, and it showed in Vaik as well, he knows how to play in difficult positions. He knows how to to get a fluid game from start to finish. So this is very important, I think, too. And a bit what Magnus does is like, you have a plan, and the game reflects that you were not wandering and going a bit randomly, let's say. No, generally he has a plan, and it does work out well. I mean, he has some setbacks because he's a 14-year-old with playing with absolute top players, but he has a bright future ahead of him.
Yeah, definitely. Coming back to the topic of your qualification path to the candidates, so you think that the main problem was that it just didn't work out in the World Cup, right? And in the Grand Swiss.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could take it some other ways, but given that, of course, I couldn't fight for a waiting spot, and that could be an issue, but, overall, I was so far away that, there's, even playing better in previous years wouldn't have mattered. Circuit points, I mean, I would have needed to win some more events, let's say in Sinquefield Cup, and then the Grand Chess Tour finals, and then maybe I would have worked up some points, but I don't even think that would have been enough. Yeah, Grand Swiss, like I said, I played decently, but, would have needed to majorly overperform to qualify, and World Cup is maybe where I needed less to overperform, but I didn't have even managed to play at my usual level. So that was it. But yeah, I mean, it's qualifying to candidates is ruthless, and is even more ruthless than before because there are so many players who can get there, as we managed to see.
Yeah, definitely. Have you thought about somehow adjusting your strategy for the next qualification cycle, maybe playing some open events, for example, to gain more circuit points or something of that kind?
Yeah, I could, but generally the circuit is really packed, and there are so many events happening. And this year, I mean, already my schedule starting from May will be absolutely full, simply and it was the same last year. So yeah, I mean, I could play some opens, but yeah, like I said, the year is packed. Maybe in 2027, the year will be less packed. But yeah, this year, again, I have lots of exciting events. And of course, there's the Olympiads with France. I hope we can bring the best team, and I hope we can fight for something. Of course, the teams that are the favorites are a bit ahead of us. But last time we did have a good Olympiad. We didn't even have Alireza. And yeah, if we win the last run, we, sort of, I think we would have ended third or fourth. That wouldn't have been bad. That would have been actually really good. But yeah, of course, the superpowers of India, US, Uzbekistan now. But it also shows us that, if we manage to get some talented kids, we can do great as well in France. And we have some, they're not quite ready yet, but, here's hoping.
Yeah, that was, by the way, one of the most popular questions when I announced you as an upcoming guest of the podcast. For example, on Twitter, X, Peter Heine Nielsen wrote a reply asking whether, now that Laurent Fressinet is in charge of developing chess in France, whether you guys jointly with Alireza will be playing in the Olympiad.
Well, I cannot speak for Alireza, and for myself, I definitely will play. I mean, I've played every Olympiad that was not online except for Chennai due to calendar reasons. Definitely, I'm always looking forward to play with the French team. Sometimes it doesn't work out because of the calendar, but that's especially for the European Team Championship. Olympiads generally is good. And as for Alireza, I mean, more also, jointly with Laurent, I will look out if Alireza is ready to play with us. That's in the end, it will be his decision.
Yeah, that would be a monstrous team, of course. If you if you guys both participate, it will be fun to watch.
That would be a great team, but monster teams are India and US in general, and Uzbekistan now.
Well, yeah, they've been dominating.
But let's say, we could have a team that's similarly skilled to Uzbekistan, which is already a great thing, of course.
Yeah, we will see. The candidates this year, I want to hear your predictions. Maybe we can compile a tier list, which is the thing these days. I do this with all my guests.
Let's do a tier list.
Let's do it.
Yes. So I'll start with saying that I don't discount anyone, so that it's perfectly clear.
What does it mean? You don't discount, like you anyone can win?
Yes. I mean, of course, it's always the case that anyone can win. And of course, there are players that I will give less percentage, but maybe it's a bit too much what I'm going to say. But let's say I would consider that nobody has less than 4% chance. So let's say if you do 25 candidates, I expect anyone to win at least once.
Interesting. Some might argue about the underdogs.
Yeah. You could. It's my feeling. It's my hot take. Let's say.
Okay.
Yes, we can start with Matthias, for instance, and generally he's always been very well prepared. I feel like he was not taking enough of his chances in the past, but now, like in the Grand Swiss, he showed great resistance, ready to pounce and ready to take his chances. So that's why I do rate him. Let's say opening of the tournament, someone decides, they play against Matthias. I know pairings are out, but I didn't see them yet.
I can check candidates pairings.
Okay, it doesn't matter anyway to my general point that, some of his early opponents can decide, okay.
He's playing Wei Yi in the first round.
Yeah, in the first 2-3 rounds, some of his opponents can say, okay, we want to get ahead of the curve. We have an opportunity. It backfires like he did for some of the players in Grand Swiss. And those already could be easily at, let's say, +2 after 4 rounds. And then that's a contender right there. I mean, you probably need +3 or +4 to win it all, most likely +4. But there are scenarios. I see it happening.
Mm-hmm. Which tier would you put Matthias in?
Yeah, I mean, I would probably put him, if we do S, A, B, C, D, I would put him at tier C.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Then comes Andrei Esipenko. So I have more reservations. I mean, I know Andrei for some time already. He's a very nice guy. I have some more reservations because I feel like he's not as much a tournament player as a match player. So he did extremely well in 2 World Cups in 2021 in Sochi, where he was on the verge of beating Magnus. And in 2025, of course, where he finished in 3rd place. And I think, his semifinals match was also very, very tense, and he could easily have won it. And in general, this practice of, as he was describing it, taking match after match, just be happy I'm still there, and even be happy if I'm out, and then I can go back home. I mean, it works in World Cup. It can work in candidates. It's a bit tougher, but with that, he's been sometimes playing incredible chess. His match against Magnus, for instance. So he has good positional understanding, good preparation, and all these things I said. And it's working for every candidate. He's had 4 or 5 months to prepare for these candidates. He has the backing of Russia, of course, backing of some incredible theoreticians as well. So, I will also put Andrei in tier C.
Okay.
For these reasons. Let's say, we can go with Javokir, who's had a breakthrough in 2025. I kind of expected it to happen. I've been keeping an eye on Javokir since 2021 when for 2 reasons. Of course, he eliminated Alireza from the World Cup. It was quite a sensation. And I saw his games and I was really impressed. And then And then especially at the Grand Swiss in Riga, tournament-wise, I think it didn't go that well for him, but it was during COVID times. So basically, we couldn't go out. There was a curfew like after 8 or 9 p.m. I don't remember. So a lot of chess players would just gather in the lounge upstairs in the hotel, and we would just give out positions to solve, and everyone would join. And that's where he really impressed me with his calculation skills. And I thought this guy has a really great future. So I'm happy for him that he had this great breakthrough last year, and it kind of keeps going. He had a great Vike event, of course, tremendous World Cup, and so on. So yeah, I do rate him highly. I am a bit skeptical about his chances to win compared to some other players, because it's a long event, and I think in World Cup he did well, but sometimes I think his stamina is not as good maybe as some other players. Maybe I'm wrong, because he's still a young player, so very young player. But candidates as a first experience is can be tough. But yeah, skill-wise, he could definitely be there. He could definitely win it. But I think some other players are more likely, so I'll put him at B tier.
Okay, B. Who's next?
I'll treat Wei Yi next.
Mm-hmm.
So very solid player, and in a way similar to. And I've not always said that Wei Yi was a solid player. As he was a kid, he had some fantastic attacks, but I feel like he's a well-poised player, solid openings, and ready to capitalize on mistakes. Maybe not a bit detached also from the result, which honestly can help. Yeah, it's gonna be controversial maybe, but I'm gonna put him at A tier for this reason, just for this reason, that he can be completely detached for the results, solid, but at the same time, sees one mistake, he will go for it.
How are you sure that he's detached from the result? Maybe it's just a facade.
Yeah, but it's not only a facade. You could see it also at World Cup, and I don't know Wei that well personally, but you can feel the player. I was sitting in the same room as him during the World Cup, during some other events. The fact that chess was not always a priority for him also is, but at the same time, he just treats chess as a hobby, but very seriously as well. So this mix can make him dangerous.
Mm-hmm. He literally does not care too much in this case.
Yes.
Okay, interesting. Next, so he's A. Next one, who's next?
Well, we can go with Pragg.
Okay.
Yes, Pragg, it's very hard to judge. He had a great year in 2025, but I think from the Grand Swiss onwards, things started to get out of hand a bit. He had tough Grand Swiss, tough World Cup, top Grand Chess Tour finals as well. Well, he had been so convincing, especially in the classical portions in Bucharest and St. Louis. I think he's had a tough Vike as well. It's harsh because, skill-wise, if we had been first 6 or 8 months of 2025, Pragg would have been at S tier.
Mm-hmm.
But, I'm really not convinced. And from Vike, a bad Vike can do some damage also. Tournament starts in 1 month, so there's only 2 months between the end of Vike and the candidates. And in general, he's not in a good spiral. And if I have the guarantee that, he will manage to find the key to break that spiral, I would put him at S tier. But now I'm going to put him at B tier. That's how important I think current form is in that case.
That's a hot take. What about the fact that usually, statistically, winners of the candidates tend to underperform in tournaments like Vike leading up to the candidates? If you remember, Fabiano, when he won the candidates, he had a horrible Vike, for example.
That's really not always the case. So, yeah, it's a hot take. But, but it's just been 6 months, and his form has really not been great. It can happen, but I'm also taking into account the fact that he's only 20 years old. I think so. It does take something special to break out of this spiral. It could just be about the first games if he feels well, if he wins a couple of them, but. You could see, for instance, like the most likely, for instance, outcome is that out of 4 games, you make, let's say, 2 out of 4. I don't see Pragg winning the candidates if he has 2 out of 4, and I could see some other players like Fabi win if he's on 2 out of 4. It's harsh. I understand. I mean, it's definitely top of the B tier. It's between A and B tier, but you have to make some choices anyway. You cannot put everyone at A and S tier. So
also, I wanted to ask you about the reason. Why do you think he had this amazing, super incredible first half of 2025 and then this slump? Pragg himself in an interview said that probably it's just he played too much and got tired, something like that, but hasn't he had time to recover? What do you think?
No, of course, it's part of the reasons that Pragg played so much and racked up so many points in the FIDE circuit, but maybe he has recovered physically. But as I know from experience, and I mean from my experience, from experience of other players, it's not about just one bad Vike. No, it's about 6 months of tournaments that were far from his best, and to detach yourself from 6 months of so results is not easy. Skill-wise, obviously, Pragg can win it.
Yeah.
I make the choice, and, I would be happy for Pragg if he proves me wrong and that he plays at his best level, because in general, I want everyone in the candidates to play at the best level.
Absolutely. Who's next?
We can go with Anish. He has impressed me a lot in 2025. He's at this amazing Grand Swiss, winning on demand with Hans. His Vike was maybe a bit so-so, but still good. I think he lost some games in the start, managed to recover, which is not easy. Finished on 50%, if I'm correct. Mm-hmm. And overall won a lot of Opens also last year. So, he won, I think, maybe Qatar Masters. I'm not exactly sure. He won one event in Middle East, that's for sure. Good spiral of results overall. Also similar skills to Wei Yi. I do think he cares more about his results, but Anish is very solid, very, very good, very well poised opening wise. One of his drawbacks before, as a top player, was that he wouldn't take enough advantage of opportunities he got in a game, and leading to his famous 14 draws in candidates where he had 4 or 5 winning positions. But somehow I think, he is partly worked on that. I mean, it's impossible to completely get rid of this issue, but I feel like he's been doing much better in that area. And in general, of course, he has more experience and stronger picks than someone like Wei Yi. So considering that, I will also put him at 8 here, a bit higher than Wei Yi, let's say. But yeah, S tier is reserved for Fabi. Mm-hmm. So let's go with Fabi next.
Okay.
Fabi is definitely S tier. It's his 6th candidate. I just saw that. He's always performed really well, most of the time at least. Because actually he didn't really perform well the year where I was there. But overall, a lot of time, he did collapse in 2022 as well. I must say he had a great first half, but because Nepo was doing so well, he felt the need to go all out in the second half and backfired really badly. But overall, he's consistent. He'll be there. He's won it already. He was on the verge of winning it at least another time. So, yeah, and overall, I mean, in the past 10 years, apart from Magnus, he's definitely the guy who had the highest pick and for the longest time.
That's just statistics, yeah.
With that being said, he's a favorite, but candidates is a tough event to win, and especially the margins are very small. You could say 14 ones is a lot of ones, but like I said, you could play this tournament many times and a lot of different winners, a lot of different tournament scenarios will happen, especially because in my mind, a lot of things can be decided in the first, let's say, 4 ones. And you could see it, for instance, in Madrid 2022, Nepo ran away with it, and Fabi was playing catch up and couldn't manage, and it got even worse than that. In 2024, actually, I know it was a bit back and forth, but in general, Gukesh was always doing well. Fabi was obviously really close to making the tie breaks, but I think also what was happening is that both Nepo and Fabi were like playing together, and both had to win, and it got us that crazy game. So yeah, I'm hoping for some more of these nerve-wracking events because, as a spectator, those are very enjoyable. As a player, probably much less. We're missing Hikaru from the list.
Yep.
Hikaru cannot be anything less than 8 here, but I'll put him at 8 here. Nonetheless, I won't put him at the S tier. I wouldn't say it's because he hasn't played with top players since Norway chess. Probably doesn't help, but Hikaru is always playing chess, and it is his way of preparation, and we can expect that he literally doesn't care, doesn't really apply. I think it's more here. It's actually more of a facade, let's say, because I think he really cares. He wants it. He knows he has a unique opportunity to try and become world champion as well. And he will be investing vast resources into managing so. But he does care too much, and it does cost him in the past. I can think of candidates 2022, but and he has moments where he's really unstable, like he lost some game without playing against Vidit, I think, with White, really.
Mm-hmm.
And there are these moments where I don't see him doing so well, but that's definitely not skill wise. He's shown that he can play so well and can outplay anyone. And also one of my reserves is that in speed chess, which is his main strength and maybe where he gets his whole confidence in general, he has not been doing that great recently. Even in Title Tuesdays, which is a great format for him, he has not been convincing. In Speed Chess Championship, definitely not in the Final Four. He did lose to Alireza and Lazovic, and especially against Alireza, it was... I think he should have lost that match, but he shouldn't have lost that match when he's up by two points with barely 2 games to go, especially in Bullet. But even before that, against Le Quangliam, he collapsed in the Bullet section. Inexplicably, he still won that match, but against Wesley, it was also extremely close. So yeah, the past year, he hasn't shown the guarantees that, the standard that he's been showing us. Of course, there's fatherhood, new fatherhood. Maybe that also takes some time to adjust to. I'm not in his position. I will not, try to guess unreasonably. But yeah, the facts are there. In the past 6 to 8 months, it's not really the Hikaru in speeches that we've been seeing. And you could argue maybe he's so invested in preparing for classical event. So for candidates that, the speed chess, he's been maybe a bit less attentive, but okay, he still plays almost every Tuesday, Title Tuesday. So, that should be enough to keep you in shape. And in the meantime, he hasn't played any meaningful classical event since Norway chess, I think, if I'm correct.
except for the Mickey Mouse tournaments, obviously, which have not really.
Well, they were meaningful in a way, but chess wise, not so much.
I see. So A for Hikaru. We will see. I'm very thrilled about the event. I've been talking to lots of strong players about this. Yeah.
I didn't want to have the easy, okay, S tier, Hikaru, Fabi, A tier, you get Anish, you get Pragg, and so on. I wanted something to reflect my views, and, there's some hot takes. I do hope that what I think, not really, but I do expect some of my views to be reflected, some to be mistaken, and in general, I hope to see a great candidate. I think, like I said, that will be one of the closest ones in past years, and last one was already extremely close. Yes, and one thing that I need to mention finally about the candidates and why I rate all the players is, in the past, we've often had one player who collapsed. And for instance, in the candidates I played, it was Hikaru in the second half. For instance, any player can collapse if they're having a bad event. But in general, for instance, someone like Matthias Bluebaum was less experienced, is not the type of player who is gonna collapse. Even if he loses one game or maybe two, he will not end up, I think, on -6, let's say. Hopefully I don't jinx him. But Andre, he could, but, he has enough class in his play. If you're doing badly in Canada, there's always a chance to collapse. But, my feeling is that nobody might completely collapse. And that's another take of me. Nobody will collapse in the event. Like, I will say maybe last place will be between -3 and -4.
Okay, we will see, because there were times when there were people with -6 or something like that. Let's see how it plays out. Thrilled for this event. Okay, at the end of our episode, as a tradition, I will ask you to play a game of Blitz with time odds.
Yes, we're ready. Let's play Karokan.
Okay.
Oof. I see you made your homework.
I'm trying to remember my homework. Okay.
Take all your time. Oof. Okay. Thought you should probably take the keep this pawn. Because now I will have some ideas of my own. Finally. Okay. Good move. Good move. I like
Thank
it.
you.
I'll just have to get rid of that one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Hmm.
No, not today. Today we fight.
Mhm.
Oof. Oof. Tense. I
Okay.
yes.
Ah,
Objective rate
nice.
should be around equal, yeah?
Yeah,
At the end,
probably. Yeah, but wow, it was a very exciting game. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. After Queen G5, it was
No,
around
I had
equal.
good opening, but you found some good moves. Like, yeah, I should have taken with the queen on e7, but I underestimated after c4 that you would manage to get my pieces out. Just knight c4 I didn't like. I thought knight f3 to have the knight more secure. And there I maybe missed some opportunity. I thought I was going for the attack, but it didn't really work.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just lucky to ended up flagging you. But it was fun.
Yeah, thank you for
Yes.
this speed chess masterclass. And yeah, Maxime, hopefully we can make this a tradition, and you will trade me one more time next time,
For
1 year
sure.
after that.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks
Thank
again,
you,
guys.
Pragg.
Guys, don't forget to hit the like button, to subscribe if you haven't yet, and to write a comment whether you agree or not with Maxime's candidates' predictions, and what your predictions are, and who's your favorite in this one. See you in the next one. Maxime, thanks again.
Thank you. Bye.